For Friday, March 4th, 1988, here's the day's news in review. Good evening, I'm Kim Jameson. Planning and Natural Resources Commissioner Alan Smith has requested a study of the groundwater on St. Croix, in part because of the discovery last summer by the Environmental Protection Agency that a number of public, private, and institutional drinking water wells in the Tutu area of St. Thomas had levels of chemical contamination that were, in some cases, unacceptable for human consumption. Those affected wells remain closed. Testing began today on St. Croix, and Tracy Stevens takes us through the process.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency sampling crews have begun testing groundwater wells on St. Croix for any evidence of chemical contamination. In the first comprehensive survey of St. Croix, tests will be conducted for over 125 chemical compounds, including pesticides and heavy metals. Mike Menzel of the EPA Technical Assistance Team demonstrates the sampling technique employed in the survey.
First, you take one of these sides for your heavy metals, which are like heavy metals are selenium, arsenic, lead, etc., things like that. Fill that up. That's our first sample. It's quite an extensive amount of sampling to be done. Fill that up. We take the same volume, another one for just cyanides. And we take these two for pesticides and PCBs, and another one for B&As.
The vials used for volatile organic compounds testing are then taken to the lab in the Fish and Wildlife Office in Frederiksted to be tested by senior chemist Anibal Diaz of Roy Weston Incorporated in New Jersey.
My job is basically to analyze the samples brought in from the field. We can analyze them for most volatile components, anything that will evaporate out of the water.
He then demonstrated the photovac machine, a portable apparatus which measures trace amounts of contaminants.
What it does is that it accepts the sample and processing the sample, and I'll demonstrate for you. Say that a sample has contamination of somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 parts per billion. That's like 5 gallons in a billion gallons. We would obtain the sample, prepare it as such, and then inject it into the instrument. The instrument process the sample and give a signal that I can quantitate.
The 64 wells to be tested should take 2 to 3 weeks, with the stateside testing results to be obtained in 4 months. The federally funded program will test public, private, and commercial wells and should cost about $300,000. For News 8, this is Tracy Stevens reporting.
Health Department officials in the Virgin Islands acknowledge that scores of people in need of treatment for mental problems wander the streets of the territory because there's simply no place to house them. The head of the psychiatric department at the St. Thomas Hospital says that there are 100 patients on the street considered to be chronic patients, but only 18 beds. Attention focused on the territory's ability to contain its mental health patients after a suspect with a history of mental illness allegedly decapitated 2 people earlier this week. A detention hearing was held today for the man accused in Wednesday's brutal slaying of 2 St. Thomas residents. Lee Carl has a report from Charlotte Amalia.
Officials at District Court have said the 34-year-old Sinclair Daniel, who is being held in the murdering of Genevieve Lewis and Steve Cornish in the Wednesday morning machete slaying, in a detention hearing was turned over to the Bureau of Corrections. No mention of bail was made. It's still unclear where Daniel is being held in the criminal justice complex. He is accused, of course, of murdering Genevieve Lewis and Steve Cornish by decapitating their heads and chopping off parts of their body in that Wednesday machete slaying. There's a question being raised as concerns the Attorney General's office, who has oversight responsibilities for this matter. in that a police officer some time ago filed a report in an assault case against Daniel in which he was alleged to have hit a Vitelco lineman in a manhole with a pickaxe or a pipe. He was charged with third-degree assault. However, that charge apparently was thrown out and he was released. According to the information we received, it was because the police officer had not promptly filed a report. Police Commissioner Milton Frett, in a press briefing on the day of the murder, said not so. The officer had filed with the proper papers and promptly. Frett countered the charges, that the charges were filed on time. Meanwhile, the Attorney General said he'd have to investigate it. In St. Thomas, Lee Carl for News 8.
Funeral arrangements for one victim of Wednesday's machete attack have been postponed. According to a family friend and a funeral home, the funeral for 53-year-old Genevieve Lewis of Smith Bay was originally scheduled for tomorrow, but was postponed for an undetermined period of time to accommodate the family. And we'll be back with more news in just a moment.
Let Varlike Ventures make all your traveling arrangements from St. John to St. Thomas or beautiful Virgin Gorda every Sunday on the Venture Star. Varlike can make your car rental arrangements and sightseeing tours around St. John, too. Tours leave Cruise Bay daily at 9:30 a.m. and return for the 4 o'clock ferry. Varlike rents the latest model Jeep, standard or automatic. Also, the Nikki V travels from Red Hook to West End Tortola 3 times a day. Remember, on land or sea, travel with we. Telephone 66412 or 66695.
Ship no more. At Construction and Hardware and the VI Block Company, we have extended our business to your doorstep to offer you the total package. In addition to our D6 dozer, 950 loader, 12 cubic foot hopper mixer, and our 1.5 yard American dragline crane, we offer the widest range of building materials. Whether you live on Tortola, Virgin Gorda, Peter Island, or Yost Van Dyke, it pays to shop at Construction and Hardware and the VI Block Company. Call 494-3340, 494-3650, or 495-2337.
Say, what's all the ruckus?
I'm a chicken hawk and I can't catch any chickens.
Don't be a lunkhead, son. You want to know how to get great chicken? Go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Maybe it's the special way they cook that finger-licking good chicken. Or maybe it's those herbs and spices. It's America's favorite chicken. Now get going, son. I'll protect the ladies. Must be losing my touch.
If you're serious about your future, you must take a look at our past. Drexel Burnham's tax-exempt retirement account, EDAXenta, has achieved a yield consistently higher than estimated, 9.6% average yield over 4 years. That is Drexel Burnham's experience in producing a better yield on your investments. Call us in Puerto Rico at 759-9393 and open or transfer your IRA to the EDAXenta of Drexel Burnham, helping people manage change.
Governor Alexander Farrelly has met with Washington, D.C. Mayor Marion Barry to discuss a $250,000 study being carried out to streamline the territory's personnel system. A Government House news release said the two met yesterday to discuss the progress made by the team assigned to the personnel reclassification project. The team, contracted by the Virgin Islands government, is expected to complete the study within 10 days on how to restructure the government personnel reclassification system and salary plan. There are currently 45 different pay scales and job classifications within the government. The governor also invited Mayor Barry to visit St. Thomas. In our report on Vitelco this evening, President Jeffrey Prosser discusses the problems they've had with the new digital switching system. Vitelco's Alcatel 1210 digital switching system is manufactured by ITT. The Virgin Islands is the first Caribbean location to have one, and possibly the first telephone system in the United States to be completely digital. Company President Jeffrey Prosser explains in simplified terms what this system entails.
All of a digital switch really is a very, very large computer which handles all of the calls instead of the old mechanical switches. Of course, the problems that we have had with the 1210 switch have been well publicized, and you know, I think it's enough to say that we at Vitelco the engineers at Alcatel continue to work forward on resolving the problems.
According to Prosser, the problems they've had over the last month or so were caused to some extent by outside forces, which no switching system is equipped to handle.
The last major fault with the switch on St. Thomas, of course, was caused when all of some of our major cables were dug through. And what that did is that sent all of these busy messages to the switch and just completely overloaded the switch.
Vitelco continues to have software problems, and solving them is an ongoing process.
As we upgrade our switches and expand the switches for additional capacity, we are looking obviously at other manufacturers besides ITT to potentially any additions would be with a new manufacturer. However, that does not insinuate that the switches we have are not operating, will not operate.
Prosser gave assurances that if they do add equipment from a different manufacturer, everything will work in tandem, and that they are continuously working to make improvements to eliminate problems they've had in the past.
Governor Alexander Farrelly says the Virgin Islands opposes a federal takeover of its prison system. A federal court warned this could happen if the local government fails to safeguard prisoners' constitutional rights. The governor told the Associated Press that the local government is working to correct problems at the Golden Grove prison on St. Croix. U.S. District Court Judge David O'Brien gave the warning in Wednesday's hearing requested by the U.S. Justice Department that the territory faces a takeover if it fails to meet a March 16th deadline for submitting an improvement plan. The governor addressed the newest class of police cadets that were graduated from the St. Croix Police Academy today during ceremonies that were held at Government House. Heather Stevenson attended and filed this report.
Class 87-2 of the Police Academy held commencement exercises that swore in 16 recruits to the Virgin Islands Department of Public Safety. Thomas Hanna, the class spokesperson, said that the recruits are glad that this day is finally here.
Classes of makeup of varied individuals ranging in age from 20 to 41. Worked hard together. We've had a lot of hard work to do. The rigors of training, push-ups, sit-ups, running, jumping, crawling, shooting, and all the rest. We're glad that this day is finally here. We're looking forward to being good police officers. And as I stated in our speech earlier, the motto of the class is where there is strength, there is unity. And we expect the community to understand we're not going out saying we're going to knock heads. We're going out to let's put heads together to solve some of the problems that we have.
For News 8, this is Heather Stevenson reporting.
The Washington Journalism Review calls ABC News the best in the business. Peter Jennings, best anchor. Sam Donaldson, best correspondent. Nightline with Ted Koppel, best network news program. No wonder more Americans get their news from ABC News.
Diamond tennis bracelet. Smashing.
When it's time to build or repair your home or offices, Gus Peterson at Peterson Window and Door has all your supplies. You'll find a complete variety of doors, windows, and other special products at affordable prices. It's a complete hardware for the contractor or do-it-yourself. Same-day screens orders, and the best in quality and prices. Before you say no to a good deal on any building supplies, call Peterson Window or visit them in the F&G complex on Island Center Road.
Midway Airlines, from the islands to the mainland, Miami to Chicago and beyond. Call us.
Midway, our spirit will lift you.
Rightway Department Store is announcing a 25% off everything in the store sale. Everything from ladies' blouses to girls' dresses, ladies' jeans to ladies' jumpsuits, belts, handbags. Don't forget to browse our stereo and TV section. They're on sale too. 25% off furniture, jewelry, toiletries. Just receive a trailer load of new clothing. They also receive a special shipment of Indian clothing. Sale starts March 2nd. Don't miss it. 25% off at Rightway Department Store.
The Virgin Islands has received a grant to fund a feasibility study for the Hospital Street project in Christiansted. The $25,000 grant will enable the planning stage of the project to get underway in the area adjacent to the historic fort. The proposed redevelopment of the waterfront and Hospital Street project resulted in a group of government and private sector individuals joining together to oversee the feasibility study. In the final part of the domestic violence series, tonight Heather Stevenson interviews a woman whose identity is concealed. This woman was battered for 10 years.
What kind of things happened to you while you were in that relationship with your ex-husband?
He's pulled the trigger, and the bullet didn't come out of the gun. I always say God was on my side. There's been a couple of knives to my throat. Machetes, where we ran around the house with a machete, you know, like he could have just destroyed me right then, because he was over the deep. He was, you know, upset. Maybe because of his one of his women didn't want to go out that night, or.
How did you decide that you had had enough?
After long bouts with myself and with watching my children go through unnecessary arguments, hearing arguments, being up in the night, all like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I had to make a decision. And he, my ex-husband hit me one night, and I decided this is it. And I got up the next morning and I went to the Attorney General's office and I asked for help. At that time, the Women's Coalition was just getting started, and there was a lady who told me that I didn't have to stay in a situation.
How do you feel now? How do you feel about yourself?
In the long run, I think that I'm happy that for me that I'm not in a situation like that anymore. And I'm a stronger person, so I don't think I'll ever be in that situation again without first stopping and thinking, I like myself a lot. And I don't want anyone to step on me, to abuse me, to misuse me. And I feel good about me, more than I've ever felt good about myself before.
Since you were in that situation of being a battered woman, what advice do you have for women who are presently being battered?
Seek help. It's out there. And in my time, in the early 80s, there wasn't much help out there. There's all kind of support groups now. There's alcohol, there's drug, there's just plain old mental and physical abuse support groups. Find them, seek them out, get on the phone and call, ask someone. It's there, look for it. Your children need it, you need it, and it'll make a better you.
If you're tired of being beaten and abused, the Women's Coalition will help you, and they will put you in either a safe house or a hotel. And if you still think that you're not safe, they'll help you relocate to either another island or the U.S. mainland. But you have to make the first step by calling the Women's Coalition at 39272 or a hotline at 31780. Remember, you must make the first step. I'm Heather Stevenson reporting for News 8.
The Senate Committee on Education and Youth met today with members of the St. Croix School District to discuss 4 major problems in the public schools. Questions on drugs, violence, teenage pregnancy, and school security were addressed by education and government officials. District Superintendent Juanita Smale disputed a report prepared by school principals that said that drug use in the schools is minimal. Smale says drugs can easily be purchased just outside school gates. It was also revealed that there is a shortage of security guards at the public schools, despite the fact that over $28,000 is spent bi-weekly on St. Croix for school security. Tom Stanwood's report this evening highlights a sailboat race that's planned for this weekend in Waters off St. John.
The Around St. John race will be staged this Sunday by the St. John Yacht Club, the race covering a distance of 24 miles. The start will be off at Two Brothers, leaving the committee boat to starboard. For the cruising class, the warning signal will be shown by the white flag at 9:20 Sunday morning. For the racing class 2, the preparatory signal with the blue flag at 9:35. Racing class 1, the prep signal at 9:45. The course will be clockwise around St. John, leaving Leduc to port, Stephen Key to starboard, Two Brothers to starboard. The finish will be off Durlow Point, leaving the committee boat to starboard. Johnson reef buoys must be honored prior to 9 o'clock that morning, and upon crossing the finish line, all boats must identify themselves with the committee boat. If no yacht has finished by 5 o'clock, the race will be declared abandoned. The rules will be IYRU 1977. Handicapping will be PHRF. For the protest, the protesting yacht must attempt to notify the protested yacht, fly a red flag, and notify the committee boat at the finish, and file a written protest within 1 hour. For PHRF ratings, John Bertolino, 776-6052, or Dick Holmberg, 775-6565. The post-race and awards party will be held at Honeymoon Beach. Tom Stanwood reporting for News 8.
According to the general manager of cable and wireless in the British Virgin Islands, Peter Jackson, a new Eastern Caribbean microwave system is being installed. Erasmus Williams has more on that from Tortola.
Mr. Jackson said the building extensions to house the equipment is nearing completion at Cherwell, and the new digital Eastern Caribbean microwave system equipment will be installed. Mr. Jackson added the new digital link to St. Thomas, which is being installed, will be completed by the middle of this year. This, he said, will provide a digital gateway to the USA, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and via the chain down through the Eastern Caribbean islands to Trinidad. He says it's a transit point for all the traffic from the Eastern Caribbean islands through to the USA. The cost of the project, he said, is almost $3 million. In other news from the British Virgin Islands, Andre Thomas, Associate Professor at Florida State School of Music in Tallahassee, will be the British Virgin Islands Community Singers guest conductor for this year's spring concert. According to Mrs. Ruth Bloxmer, Dr. Thomas will direct the concert April 2nd at the Sir Rupert Brightcliffe Cultural Hall. She said Dr. Thomas, while here, will also direct the high school chorus, lecture to student members of the British Virgin Islands high school bands, and direct vocal workshops for individual members of the BVI community singers. Erasmus Williams in Rhodotown, Tortola 4 News 8.
Alan Woods with the sports report, Tracy Stevens with the weekend highlights, and the latest weather forecast when we come back.
Air BVI, your reliable link, serves the islands with convenient schedules and the lowest fares. From St. Thomas, you can travel with us to Anguilla and St. Martin on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and to St. Kitts on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. We also offer several flights daily linking St. Thomas, Tortola, and Virgin Gorda. And do not forget Anegada, our hideaway. What else? Of course, you already know that between the British Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, Air BVI is the only way to go. Remember, your reliable link is Air BVI.
And comfort aboard the Native Sun, Oriole, and the all-new Voyager Eagle. The Native Sun Incorporated has ferry boats with sun decks, fully air-conditioned cabins, and a daily schedule of charters available between islands. Native Sun Incorporated travels to and from St. Thomas, Tortola, and Virgin Gorda daily. And the friendly crew even serves complimentary drinks on board. For reservations, call 486-85 in St. Thomas or 54617 in Tortola. Remember the Native Sun, Oriole, and the all-new Voyager Eagle.
Carroll Beach Hotel, the friendly hotel, just famous for that special blend of personal attention and courteous service. Come to the magnificent Tonga Reef Restaurant at the Carroll Beach Hotel, just minutes from the St. Thomas Airport. Select from their superb selection of Polynesian or continental cuisine. Dine by torchlight. Create your own salad from the Tonga Reef's famous salad bar. Later, make your way through the natural coral rock tunnel to the romantic Tiki Lounge on Mermaid Isle. You'll have a night to remember at the Carroll Beach Hotel and Restaurant.
Good evening. In boxing, halfway around the world, heavyweight champion Mike Tyson's condition is called too good. That's according to his trainer, Kevin Rodney. Tyson was scheduled to spar 10 rounds with 3 partners in Tokyo, but the session was cut short after 6 hours. As we know, Tyson will put his undisputed heavyweight title on the line against Tony Tubb. That fight will take place on March 21st in Tokyo. In news from the NBA, there may be bad news from the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors say they are considering surgery for their center, Ralph Sampson. Cartilage damage in Sampson's right knee is considered to be the problem. Last night, there was a light schedule in the NBA. In fact, there were only 2 games. The first game featured Charles Barkley versus Air Michael Jordan.
The Philadelphia 76ers, hoping to stop their 18-game consecutive road loss, called on the Chicago Bulls last night. Slam dunk champion Michael Jordan actually missed a dunk, and that's a rarity. Charles Barkley asserted himself in the 4th period. He finished with 32 points and 18 rebounds. Toward the end of the game, it was all Michael Jordan. Jordan had 36 points and grabbed 10 rebounds. Chicago ended its 3-game losing streak and handed Philadelphia 76ers their 19th straight road loss by the score of 97-93. In the other game last night, Portland has a 3-game winning streak. They blew out Phoenix 135-112. Portland has beaten Phoenix every time this season.
In sports around St. Croix this weekend, the action continues in the Livingston Bramble Association Winter Basketball League. The games take place tonight at the Claudio Marco Gym. 2 games are scheduled. No Jog goes against Nature, and it's Rockers versus Youngblood. Saturday night, it's Cool Running versus Pushers and Ghetto Brothers versus Mandim. The first game on both nights begin at 7:30 p.m., and that takes place at the Claudio Marco Gym. The St. Croix Police is sponsoring the Reebok National Police Athletic League basketball shootout. That's a lot of words. That will take place tomorrow at the Central High School Gym, and this will be a test of basketball skills as to how many hoops you can make. And finally, the 1988 Basilio Felix Softball League opens this Sunday. That takes place at the Basilio Felix Softball League, and that's in Estate Castle, Coakley. The league's opening is scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. And that's a sports wrap for Friday. Have yourself a good weekend. Up next, Tracy Stevens with VI Highlights.
Good evening, everyone. Here's a look at the weekend highlights. The St. Croix chapter of the Daughters of the British Empire will be holding their well-known Petticoat Lane Flea Market tomorrow in Kings Alley from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Scholarship Committee of the Caribbean Community School cordially invites you to their farewell banquet in honor of Bishop James Haskell Mayo of the African Methodist Episcopal Church tomorrow at 7:30 at St. George Botanical Garden. St. Croix quilters and quilt collectors will display a variety of new and antique quilts on Sunday in the small museum at Estate Wynn Plantation. The exhibit will continue through March and April. And an outage has been scheduled for sections of St. Croix feeders number 10 and 6 for Sunday. Number 10, the outage will affect from the power plant in Estate Richmond to La Grande Princess. Number 6 outage will affect the air from the power plant to St. John from 8 to 10 a.m. Highlights is brought to you as a public service by Midway Airlines, Antilles Graphic Arts, and Bulky International Airways. If you have an item of community interest, send it to Highlights, P.O. Box 8, ABC, Christiansted, St. Croix. This evening's weather forecast calls for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. The low is 72 degrees with light easterly winds. High pressure over the Atlantic continues to dominate, maintaining a northeast wind flow over the Caribbean. Satellite pictures indicate scattered clouds over the Atlantic moving towards the local area, giving a chance for a few showers through Saturday. Seas remain slightly higher than normal and are choppy at times, especially along the northern coastal waters. Small craft operators should exercise caution. This weekend's forecast calls for partly sunny skies with a 20% chance of showers. The high is 86 degrees with easterly winds of 15 miles per hour.
That's our report for this evening. ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings follows in just a moment. On behalf of all of us at News 8, thanks for joining us and enjoy your weekend.
Transportation Services of St. John and Inter-Island Boat Services will make all your arrangements from St. John to St. Thomas or charter to Puerto Rico, Tortola, and St. Croix on the Caribe Sun, Caribe Time, Caribe Air Ride, NSI 1, or the Sundance. Transportation Services can arrange all your sightseeing tours around St. John as well. Tours leave Cruise Bay daily at 9:30 a.m. and return at 12:30. The Sundance travels to and from Tortola 3 times daily. Call Transportation Services or Inter-Island Boat Services at 662-82 or 665-97.
St. Croix Gas Company has been a reliable, dependable supplier of propane gas to the residential as well as the commercial communities for many years. Quality service along with safe, dependable delivery has been our trademark. So why not go with the best? Let St. Croix Gas serve your propane gas needs. A pleasant, helpful staff is always willing and waiting to provide you with fast, courteous service. So when propane gas is what you need, call the best. Call St. Croix Gas at 778-6500.
The Fruit Bowl in the Wheatley Center is the favorite choice among Virgin Islanders for over 12 years. With produce buyers across the nation, the Fruit Bowl assures you daily shipments of the freshest fruits and vegetables at the lowest prices anywhere. You'll find your favorite fruits, all shiny and bright, and crisp, fresh vegetables of every variety. A fully stocked dairy department, beverage, and grocery sections for all your shopping needs. The Fruit Bowl, Wheatley Center, everyone's headquarters for the best for less.
You mean you haven't been to Virgin Gorda yet? Then escape for the day to where the living is easy and the scenery takes your breath away. Boki International Airlines will whisk you over the water and tour you all around this peaceful paradise. We'll buy you a sumptuous lunch and show you the famous baths, all for the price of $99, $129 if you leave from St. Thomas. Call our office 89177. That's 89177 and experience British Virgin Gorda now.
Sutherland, for business or leisure, whatever your pleasure, Sutherland is there for you, for you. Sutherland, #1 in the sun, #1 in the sun, Sutherland.
WSVI-TV, Channel 8. Broadcasting from the Sunny Isle Shopping Center in Christiansted and transmitting from Blue Mountain on St. Croix. Channel 8, serving the United States Virgin Islands and the Caribbean.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. There is actually a suggestion of compromise in the Middle East tonight. No, not between the Israelis and the Palestinians, not yet anyway, but the slightest suggestion that after 7 years, the regime in Iran may be prepared to radically scale down the war with Iraq. The Iranians made their feelings known almost offhand.